20-19. All right, Dallas Cowboys Nation, everybody take a deep breath in and a deep breath out as the Cowboys win it in Week 17. What a finish from AT&T Stadium, and the Cowboys hold on by the very skin of their teeth against the Detroit Lions, notching their 11th win of the season. The Cowboys improve to 11-5. The Detroit Lions fall to 11-5. We've got Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton here. I'm Kyle Youmans for the first word, presented by Dr. Pepper. I still don't know exactly what we had just experienced on the field at AT&T Stadium, but what we ended up experiencing was a Cowboys win. Our coaching staff walking by right now. I mean, this was a hard-fought game from the very jump. It wasn't just the ending. Dallas needed a couple breaks to go their way, and at the end, they made the plays necessary to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this came down, obviously, to the last series, and you felt that way the entire game. The last plays. I mean, and you knew it was a back-and-forth battle the entire game, and it really came down to guys stepping up and making those plays. And a little bit of luck came in there as well. I know there's going to be a lot of controversy revolving around that tackle throwback, but ultimately they had to come back 2 more plays and shut things down. Big shout-out to Dallas and their defense stepping up at the end, but collectively, these guys all came together to get the big victory.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. We were lucky today, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Thank you, Dan Campbell. Yes, sir. We don't know what happened at the end of the game, but I do know that these Cowboys, for the first time in over, 2 years, we've won a close game that can help us be a better playoff team.
It is a confidence-building win. This is a good football team in the Detroit Lions. They are division champions for a reason. They are, of course, in the same hunt as Dallas is for NFC playoff positioning. This win puts Dallas in a position to be the number 2 seed if they do win the division. You still need Philadelphia to lose, and you got to win next week against Washington at the same time. But let's talk about that final scenario. Dallas has the interception from Donovan Wilson. They're up by 7, or they're up by 4 at that point. It turns into a Brandon Aubrey field goal to go up by 7. It looks like there's an opportunity there to kill some clock. Instead, not a whole lot there. You kick the field goal, you go back up by 7, and there's still 1:40 on the clock. What was your thought at that point and how everything ensued after that?
Yeah, just being honest, I didn't like it. I think we've seen this before throughout the season where there's a couple game management concerns that I've personally had in regards to the decision to throw the ball when it's under 2 minutes versus run the ball. And the reason being is every time you run the ball, whether you get a no-yard gain or whether you get a 10-yard gain, you're eating 40 seconds of play clock up. You're either going to eat up those 40 seconds or you're going to force them to utilize their timeouts, which ultimately puts the game back in your hands. And every time you throw the ball, right, yes, you might have a big play. Yes, you might move the chains, but there's a high probability of you stopping the clock. There's also a high probability of you getting sacked. There's also a high probability of tips and overthrows, and they got to get those, right? So I personally don't like the decision to throw the ball in those situations because it allows for Detroit to be in the position they were in at the end of the game where they had time. You know, they did not have timeouts, but they had time to move the ball down the field, and I believe that if they would have Dallas would have ran the ball, they would have not have had those opportunities.
I agree with you 100%. Double ditto that, man. All we had to do was run the ball, get up slow, walk back to the huddle, call the play with 2 seconds left, snap the ball, time would have been ate up. I don't like when a coach panics like that, and I don't know what they see. But the obvious thing is to run the ball because your defensive play lights out now, but they're in a pressure situation.
It really was an odd moment, and really one that I think was puzzling for most Cowboys fans, and only 40 seconds tick off the clock during that drive. Gives plenty of time. Detroit goes down and scores. Scott Purcell jumping in the shot, having some fun back here as well. But whenever you've got so much happening in a moment like that, I mean, you need somebody to step up and make the play. It didn't happen for Dallas. What happened was penalties worked in their favor.
Yeah, penalties happen to work in their favor, and you don't want to leave it up to penalties, right? I mean, you want to try to control your destiny as much as possible. And I think really what it came down to was just a lack of confidence in the running game today. Obviously, Dallas ultimately, let's not put a cloud over this win. This is a big win, but you want to be able to run the ball. And we knew they had some big boys up front for Detroit, and they obviously made it difficult. They put you in some passing downs, and you were winning in the air. So, I mean, if you were going to lean on something in which you feel like you had the advantage, advantage, it would have been the passing game, especially when you got CeeDee Lamb going out there for 227 yards.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I mean, that's enough yards for an entire team. One man got it. So I understand the confidence you had in the air, but there are consequences that come when you don't complete those balls.
Yeah, we got to make sure this offensive line is healthy and ready to go. We're going to have to design better plays run-wise to give these guys a little bit more confidence, because we're losing guys by like every game. If it ain't Tyler Smith, it's Tyrann, then it's Steele. So we got to be ready. Backup guys got to get a lot of reps this week and just be ready to go, man.
That's the thing is that's at any point in the season you're going to face hurdles like that with injuries and things of the sort, and especially with the offensive line being as thin as they are at certain times throughout the year, it is going to play a factor. Real quickly before we get out of here, this felt like one of those games where it was destiny for Dallas to win. Jimmy Johnson going in the Ring of Honor. I mean, what a great day that was.
That's one.
Yep, there's one. CeeDee Lamb breaking not one but two records, setting a career high, having the first 200-yard receiving game for the Dallas Cowboys since 2019. A lot of things went right. How do you need this team to improve going into next week and the final week of the regular season?
Stop with the penalties. Stop with the offsides. And we cannot have a turnover. We're not that. I don't think we're not that good of a team where we can afford to have a turnover in the playoff, because it always hurts us. History shows that if we play clean football, limit the turnovers, we will be a successful team.
I think you have to find a running game. It's just, I don't care how you go about it. I don't care who's toting the rock, but you have to get some kind of confidence in the running game, because teams are not going to allow you to just feed CeeDee Lamb the ball every single play until you get in the red zone and then give it to Cook. So you have to, and I can't harp on this enough. I know the big fella agrees. You got to get these guys going on the ground game. I don't care who you're playing against. I don't care if they got 350-pounders in the middle. I don't care if they have, Hutchinson on the outside. You got to be able to move these guys off the ball, whether that's scheme or whether that's personnel. But somebody has to make the decision that you want to move them backwards.
All right, Nate, what was your prediction prior to the game? I mean, it's always the same, right?
1 point, baby.
Cowboys by 1.
Yes.
Cowboys by 1. They got it done.
Better be lucky than good. Yes, sir.
We've got more post-game coverage and locker room reaction following the 20-19 win for the Dallas Cowboys over the Detroit Lions, coming your way in a matter of moments on Cowboys Game Night. That's it for this one on First Word, presented by Dr. Pepper. We leave you with the final stats brought to you by Miller Lite. For Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, and Kyle Youmans, we'll see you on Cowboys Game Night coming up in a matter of moments.